Hello, BookTube. I have a little mail for you today on a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday. Just a gorgeous day. A little bit too chilly for my likings, but just lovely. But the mail fills me with foreboding because a few of you have commented that something has gone wrong with the audio on recent mail hauls, that the opening of the packages has been far too intrusive, louder than usual. I don't know what I'm supposed to do to fix that, except maybe opening the packages off camera. But that takes away some of the fun. So we'll feel our way through it today and see, if it's a problem again today. I will open them further away from the camera and see if that helps. But first we have a bunch of periodicals, a nice mix of periodicals. We have once again the Martha's Vineyard Gazette, broadsheet newspaper for the island of Martha's Vineyard off the coast of Massachusetts, where I am the book section editor. It's a wonderful thing. The place where most people turn right away is to the three columns in the back: the Vineyard Gardener, bird news, and all outdoors. Specifically bird news, although the author of the Vineyard Gardener has a loyal following of people. But the vineyard is absolutely chock-a-block with avid birders, so they want to know what's been seen in so-and-so's garden, what's been seen at the airport, and they'd like pictures if they can get them. There are all sorts of vibrant Facebook groups and online communities and whatnot, but it's neat when it makes the paper. Then the other newspaper is the Bedford Times Press from tiny little Bedford, Iowa, in Taylor County. An entirely local paper with one non-local feature, which is mine. I am the non-local feature. I have a books column in the Bedford Times Press and the Times Chronicle as well, or the timetable, the Lennox timetable. This column, the Ex Libris column, is about 1,000 words. Its rates are very reasonable. If your own local paper could use this so that you don't have to subscribe to a paper in Taylor County, Iowa. Feel free, if you have feelers out, if you know your local newspaper, or even if you don't. Even if you just want to send them an email and say, hey, would you contact this guy? Feel free to hand out my email or give me their email so that I can pitch. I would like nothing better than for this column to appear all over the country. I would like nothing better than that. But what was on my mind when I wrote this? Although it was entirely unplanned, it seemed only fitting that I kicked off what turns out to be National Library Week with a visit to the library book sale. The National Library Week was first sponsored into existence way back in 1958, and in the ensuing decades, it's steadily grown into a week-long mega event in which people all over the world celebrate what so many consider the single most important institution in their town. As former First Lady and avid library fan Laura Bush was fond of saying, the most valuable thing in her wallet was always her library card. And I move on to talk not only about the library sale, but about the books that I got at the library sale. And that's the sort of thing. It's general bookish interest once a week. So feel free to put me in touch with somebody who's willing to extend my grasp. Then we go from my book column in the Bedford Times Press to the London Times Literary Supplement, the greatest literary journal in the world. Now, I would like nothing better than if the TLS ran my column, but I don't think there's any chance of that. This has a whole bunch of interesting things, including the NB column at the back that is full of doom and gloom about the price of books. What do we have here? It's about the London Book Fair, that barmy bazaar of shop talk and rights deals that pops up annually in Kensington. Let's see here. There was plenty of noise at this year's London Book Fair. We caught a fit of poetry in a corner of one hall, and elsewhere an outbreak of drumming courtesy of the Sharjah Book Authority. A literary agent jokingly complained about the lack of good gossip. The proud proprietor of a self-publishing service cocked a snook at his more piratical rivals. The Ukrainian Book Institute had, we gather, received its space from LBF free of charge, following the pummeling of Kharkiv, where the country's main printing works are located. And as reported in the Bookseller, meanwhile, the outlook is, quote, quite bleak, really, for the economics of the book business. As prices continue to rise for paper, energy, even glue, ink, binding, as one insider noted, higher book prices are inevitable. Perhaps they say this every year, but this year we suspect they really mean it. And that echoes what I've heard from other people, including some publicists who went to the London Book Fair. about how you can expect that even a basic little paperback will be well over $10 by this time next year. It made me wonder, of course, when I see studies like that, I always wonder what the breaking point is of the casual reading public. I wondered that when paperback books went to $6.95. I remember that vividly, and I thought, that is way too much. That is the bulk of $10. That is way too much to ask somebody to pay. If a paperback book is $15, I mean a little paperback, not the larger trade paperback, but if a little paperback is $15, would you buy one? I don't know if you would. You can almost certainly get it cheaper as an ebook. I don't know. And then the final periodical was the saddest one of all. It had books coverage that I read. It was the New Republic, Democracy in Peril. It's a special issue. It had a whole bunch of roundtable discussions. The book coverage was very interesting. Someone named Krithika Varagur reviewed that book, The Strongmen, that we saw on this channel, and gave it only so-so. I sort of had the impression that it did not dig deep enough. Timothy Schenck reviews a new book by Matthew Continetti called The Right, The 100-Year War for American Conservatism, and does a really good job. It's a really, really good review. And there was one other here, the showcase of the whole thing. Somebody named Jedediah Britton Purdy. Does not sound like a real name, but then again, neither does the subject. Alexis de Tocqueville, that new biography of Alexis de Tocqueville, gets a huge write-up in the issue. So that's great. The depressing part, the sad part of the issue was the roundtable discussions at the front, including, most especially, two. There's one called Can They Steal It? About the key swing states ranked on a graph of how likely it is that their election results in 2022 and especially 2024 will be stolen. And then the worst thing of all, a roundtable if Trump wins. With no seeming awareness on the part of the magazine that those two features are intimately connected. They won't steal. They have put loyalists in place who ran on the explicit promise that they would not certify a Democratic victory. So they'll be able to say they aren't stealing anything. It was really, really depressing. It was a whole bunch of really smart people getting together and saying, well, I suppose on the outside chance that it were to happen, I guess democracy would be in a pickle, wouldn't it? But anyway, it was a nice breadth of periodicals, and I promised my own column, Ex Libris, that I haven't written in 45 years, never gets political. Never. But then again, we've got packages as well. So let's go through these packages. We'll start with there's one of them here in a barely sealed priority mail envelope. That's never a good sign. That might be one of you. What have we got here? 2 books. What is this one here? This one has a blurb by Tony Shalhoub. Who knew that he read? This is by Nancy Slonim Arney, and it's called Memoir as Medicine, the healing power of writing your messy, imperfect, unruly, but gorgeously yours life story. I already like the book, right? I already like the book. You didn't write today, and you should. There's no more glorious a thing. Once you get past the hurdle of it being a horrible grind of a muscle that you haven't worked in way too long, once that muscle is in good shape, you will love it. You will make extra time. You will look forward to the time when you can open a computer screen and write. And just write. It is an incredible feeling. And if you think you get off on not so much the writing, but the sharing, you don't have to wait. And you don't have to pay a cent for independent publication. Go to places like Wattpad or fanfiction.net and run your stuff serially. Ask for feedback. I will gladly give you feedback. I will gladly spread the word. If that's what you want, if you want feedback, if you want the immediate community right away, you can get it in a way that your parents could not. But anyway, what have we got here? Let's. I have no pub sheet here. Writing has been medicine for the author of this book, Nancy Slonim Arney. At 9 months old, her son Dan was diagnosed with diabetes. Diabetic at 9 months old. Then at 22, he was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Good Lord. Good Lord. During the years, she and her husband took care of Dan, and when he died at age 38, she could not find the book she needed, so she wrote her own memoir. That is a truism of the writing community, and it is, like so many truisms, true, which is write the book you want to read. Write the thing that's not out there. Don't wait to find it. Don't go searching for it. Learn how to write and write it yourself. Anyway, in teaching memoir writing, she has found that everyone has a story to tell and that telling it is important. Sharing, this is who I am, these are the things that shaped me, this is where I am now, allows a kind of magic and healing to happen. Entirely true, even if you don't share it with anybody. Over decades of writing and teaching, she has created a set of prompts, directions, and examples she shares in this book. She shows readers how to write through where they have been and into a deep understanding, profound healing, and even unexpected joy. Well, that's wonderful. Jack Cornfield blurbs this. Carly Simon blurbs this, same as Tony Shalhoub. Wally Lamb blurb, Geraldine Brooks blurbs this. I'm sensing a commonality here. I think I know what this is. Let's read the author's bio and see if I'm right. Nancy Slonim Arney is the founder of the Chillmark Writing Workshop on Martha's Vineyard. Yes, this is from my editor at the aforementioned Vineyard Gazette. Obviously, I am to review this book. Can't wait. I'll read it tonight. Okay, fine. I'm not saying that the blurbs are wrong. It's just, it's easier to blurb somebody if you're going to meet them at the vegetable co-op in Chillmark. All right, so I can assume, actually, let me look at the note here. I think I can assume that the other book will also be a Vineyard Gazette book. Yes. Yes. Typically charmingly terse note from my editor says, yeah, these are books for him. All right, so good. Nothing better than for an Old Bailey hack than getting books in the mail that are jobs. There's nothing better than that. So what's this next one? It's by Lisa Foster, and it's called Bag Lady. How I Started a Business for a Greener World and Changed the Way America Shops. Okay, still don't have I don't think I have a sheet for this. Oh, wait, maybe I do. All I'm worried about now is the sound of all of the incidental noise. That's all I'm worried about. This is going to be too loud. What have we got here? Well, I do have a pub sheet, but it's in microtype. I wouldn't even try to read it. Let's just read off the back of the book. 1 billion plastic bags a day. That's how many bags Americans were throwing away in 2005 when Lisa Foster first switched to reusable bags. The impacts of all those bags on our environment and our taxes kept her up at night. It was wrong, morally wrong. She believed that if American shoppers knew what she knew, they would switch to reusable bags too. So she did what any good English teacher would do. She took the facts about bags and turned them into a story. All right. I don't always get books from this particular editor that please me as much as these two do without having read a single word. Boy, though, if you need any further reification that plastic bags are awful and an omnipresent, choking menace to the planet. Think about that film footage of, what was it? What was the name of that probe that went all the way down into the Challenger Deep of the Mariana Trench? And a plastic bag floats past the camera. Miles from the surface, 5 miles from the surface of the Earth, where there isn't anything alive, but there's a plastic bag down there. Let's see here. Over the next 12 years, that story transformed Lisa into the Bag Lady, an eco-entrepreneur on a mission to save the world one reusable bag at a time. Because she was driven by purpose, she did a lot of things right. She sold 250,000 reusable bags her first year, 2 million her second year, and 8 million her third year. Each reusable bag had the potential to replace 1,000 single-use bags, collectively eliminating billions of plastic bags. Lisa also did a lot of things wrong. 1 out of 10 startups fail, and odds are worse for people like her with no business experience or training. In the end, she built a thriving company, disrupted plastic bag industry, and changed the way America shops. It was a wild ride. I don't doubt it. I wonder about you. Massachusetts enacted a ban. Stores don't offer plastic bags anymore. You can buy them. But every place encourages you, bring your own bag. Bring your own bag. No matter what it is you're getting, bring your own tote bag. Tote bags come in all sizes. They can be put through the laundry. They fold. They're very neat. They're very available. And you're not going to throw them out. You're going to wait until they wear out. And when they wear out completely. They go back into the environment. They don't stick around like plastic bags do. I thought that would be the most ungainly switch in the world when I did it. And then I never go anywhere without a tote bag. And it's as easy as could be. It's the easiest thing in the world. I thought also that I would suffer from not having the disposable plastic bags for cleanup duty. But no, there are biodisposable alternatives that are easily available. They are easily accessible. So this thing has a bunch of blurbs. Oh my God, if it has a bunch of blurbs from Tony Shalhoub and Carly Simon, I'm going to be so embarrassed. Rosabeth Moss Cantor, Laurie David, Tom Bowman. Okay, no. A former CEO of Dunkin' Donuts, but not habitual vineyard people. So what about you then, bag lady? What about you? Do you have a connection with the vineyard, or you must? Uh, let's see. You must. Why else would I be getting your book? Are you not going to give me any kind of a biography of the bag lady? No, you're not. Son of a gun. Well, it doesn't matter. I wouldn't get the book otherwise. So that's great. All right, fantastic. 2 books in that package. Let's move on. Oh, is that too loud? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my. Oh my goodness gracious. Should I, are you going to vote that I send this to David Murphy just to see what kind of havoc I can wreak with his blood pressure? Should I do it? Should I send it to David? I don't want to block the bean, but I want to give this the full dramatic reveal. This comes out in July, one day after the American Day of Independence. It's the latest book from Henry Kissinger. In this book, Leadership, 6 Studies in World Strategy, diplomat and statesman Henry Kissinger brings to life a unifying theory of leadership and diplomacy through a trenchant examination of some of the most influential leaders of the last century. How much do you want to make a bet? Before we go any further with the pub sheet, how much do you want to make a bet that at least a few of the 6 people on his list were unmitigated, unreconstructed monsters? Monsters. Creatures out of Greek mythology. How much do you want to make a bet? Let's take a look at what the list is. Konrad Adenauer, Charles de Gaulle, Richard Nixon, Anwar Sadat, Lee Kuan Yew, and, say it with me now, Margaret Thatcher. As Kissinger writes, leadership is most essential during periods of transition, when values and institutions are losing their relevance and the outlines of a worthy future are in controversy. Yes, yes, indeed. A time of transition, very much so. Like, for instance, if you had a whole bunch, maybe 300,000, 400,000, 500,000, 750,000 people who are in a healthy, thriving middle class, you probably want to transition them elsewhere, don't you? And not upwards. This important book examines figures who inherited a world marked by change, and Kissinger provides urgent lessons for our current time of uncertainty. To each of the 6 studies, he brings historical perception, public experience, and because he knew each of the subjects and participated in many of the events he describes, I'm amazed there are no air quotes over participated, personal knowledge. The result is an indispensable meditation on leadership, grounded in Kissinger's deep study of history and his experience as one of the foremost policymakers of the modern era. Should I send this to David? Oh my. All right, well, it doesn't come out until July, so I can wait at least a little while to read Henry Kissinger fawning all over Margaret Thatcher. It was amazing, though. There was no doubt in my mind that at least some of the figures in that 6 were going to be monsters. People who absolutely are not examples of leadership, in any kind of leadership that you would want to have an example of. All right. Well, it's all downhill from there. Let's move on to this next one. This next one has an odd packaging as well, an odd feel to it. But surely, my editor at the Vineyard Gazette would have put them all together if he had another book. So this might be somebody else. Although, keep in mind, I know. I always call the Vineyard Gazette a local newspaper. It very much is. Far more local in its own way than the Bedford Times-Press. The Bedford Times-Press is incredibly local to Taylor County, but they do run my column, and there is nothing local about my column. I do not. That's another thing. If you are talking at the Little League game or the PTA meeting with the editor of your town's little newspaper, make sure to mention, I don't do local stuff. There's no such thing as a local reader. I write a general interest books column. Even that isn't true of the Vineyard Gazette. The Vineyard Gazette is purely devoted to Martha's Vineyard. Any outside world news has to happen to the Vineyard in order to be reflected in the Vineyard Gazette. And the same thing is true with the books that I get. Every once, like I mentioned, every once in a while, somebody who lives on the vineyard, an institution or a well-liked person who lives on the vineyard, will write a book about something that has nothing to do with the vineyard, and I still get to review their books. Mr. Straightower, for instance, was a prominent, relatively recent example. I still get to review their books, but that's rare. Usually, it's a vineyard author, either writing about a vineyard subject, or in the case of these two books, not. The nice thing about these two books is they're about universally applicable subjects. However, although I have said that about the Vineyard Gazette, it is still an absolutely charming newspaper. I am not just trying to dissuade you from subscribing to it. You should subscribe to it if you want to see my book reviews out in the wild. But anyway, what is this this next one that we've got here? What on earth? What on earth? Oh no. Oh, very sorry. Okay. Yeah, this is okay. We're not going to look at this one because it's a Kirkus review. It's a book for Kirkus Reviews. I write reviews for Kirkus Reviews, and my reviews are anonymous. It just doesn't feel right for me to talk about the book, show it to you. It doesn't feel right to do. So we're going to skip that one, but we still have other packages. I'll put this is great though. I have to say, just in terms of being an Old Bailey hack, it's absolutely great to have a mail haul in which I'm getting books that I am commissioned to review. that I'm getting what Rumpole of the Bailey would refer to as a money brief. So let's see what this next. Oh my! Oh goodness! Someone call Olive. I've amassed enough of these things. I need to send a package out to Olive. If she doesn't have this already, she might easily have this already. This is due in early May. This is by Cy Montgomery, and this is The Hawk's Way: Encounters with Fierce Beauty. Tiny little thing from the author of The Soul of an Octopus. When Cy Montgomery went to spend a day at falconer Nancy Cohen's farm, home to a dozen magnificent birds of prey, it was the start of a deep love affair. Nancy allowed her to work with Jazz, a feisty 4-year-old female Harris hawk with a wingspan of more than 4 feet. Not a pet, Jazz was a fierce predator with talons that could pierce skin and bone, and yet she was willing to work with a human to hunt. From the first moment Jazz swept down from a tree and landed on Cy's leather-gloved fist, Cy fell under the hawk's magnetic spell. Over the next few years, Cy spent more time with these magnificent creatures, getting to know their extraordinary abilities and instinct. They are deeply emotional animals, quick to show anger and frustration, and can hold a grudge for years. That sounds like the Boston Irish Catholic. But they are also loyal and intensely aware of their surroundings. In this mesmerizing account featuring 16 pages of gorgeous color photos, Cy passionately and vividly reveals the wondrous world of hawks and what they can teach us. Fantastic. Okay, fantastic. So this is Cy Montgomery's new book. I don't know if Olive already has this, but Olive has made it clear on her own BookTube channel, I'm assuming you all subscribe to her own BookTube channel, she's made it clear that she wants, as she puts it, all the bird books. And I have a little pile of them. I just haven't sent her away. And this is the latest one, coming out in early May. Fantastic. And then we have this last one. One of these big cardboard packages. Has some weight to it. Could be a finished copy. Let's see. Let's see what we have here. Oh, okay, yes, it is a finished copy. We saw this already. No pub sheet, no nothing. I think this is a debut. This is by Karen Wynn, and it's Our Little World, the finished copy of Our Little World. Oh my, look at all. The whole back of the thing is blurbs. The whole back is blurbs. Wow. Okay, well, let's see. For those of you who missed it the first time. July of 1985, that is our setting. It's a normal, sweltering New Jersey summer for soon-to-be 7th grader B. Coxus. Her thoughts center only on sunny days spent at Deer Chase Lake, on evenings chasing fireflies around her cul-de-sac with the neighborhood kids, and on Max, the boy who just moved in across the street. There's also the burgeoning worry that she'll never be as special as her younger sister, Audrina, who seems to effortlessly dazzle wherever she goes. But when Max's little sister Sally goes missing at the lake, Bee's long-held illusions of stability is shattered in an instant. As the families in her close-knit community turn inward, suspicious and protective, things in Bee's own home become increasingly strained, most of all with Audrina, when a shameful secret surfaces. Is Audrina responsible for the disappearance of the kid? With everything changed, Bea and Audrina's already fraught sisterhood is pushed to the limit as they grow up and apart in the wake of an innocence lost too soon. Okay, so am I right that this is the author's first book? Oh, she's very young. This is our author. She's very, very young. So probably this is her first book. She received her MFA from Fairfield Dickinson University. She also holds a doctoral degree in nursing. Born and raised in New Jersey, she now lives in Boston with her husband and 2 children, and this is indeed her first novel. Great. Fantastic. Absolutely love debut novels. I don't have a sheet for this, but I do have the advance copy of this, and I think this is an April release. So I'll go and find it, substitute it out, and read this tonight. So once again, a mail haul has largely become a TBR. I'll read this tonight. I'm long overdue. I'll read this tonight. Obviously, that will take half an hour to do. I'm going to let Leadership by Henry Kissinger go by for a little bit. But then I've got these 2 Vineyard Gazette books, Bag Lady and especially Memoir as Medicine. Something I've been preaching for years. Can't wait to see what the author comes up with. And my reviews of those books will be available on Authors Vineyard Gazette in due time. So you'll know where to find them if you're in the subscribing mood. But anyway, that's the mail. That plus some periodicals that range the spectrum from a little Iowa newspaper that runs my column, as your little newspaper could, all the way up to the TLS and the New Republic, with a special issue entitled Democracy in Peril. So a little roller coaster of a mail ride out, but we'll see what tomorrow brings. Thank you, BookTube.